Cleaning up a Tikka T3x chambered in 3006, big, same across the whole range I imagine. First step is to remove this shroud. Now be very careful and mindful not to rotate this the wrong way, which would be the firing pin rotating down slope here on that angle, because as you do you'll lock that into the fired position. And there'll be another video elsewhere on my channel for how to undo that. So you want to rotate the firing pin away from that angle there, that down slope. Okay, it'll take a little bit of force, but you just grab a hold of it. And you see that rotation? Okay, there's a little locking mechanism that'll hold the pin. Yeah, you hear the click? Okay, you want to rotate away from that as far as it'll rotate. There's a little spring in the bottom of that shroud that'll help it pop off. Okay, that's step one. Now you're left with the exposed firing pin, and there is a little hole just in there. And you want to get a fairly fine but good quality Allen key or something similar to place in there. Okay, step two, grab an Allen key that fits in that hole. Now I like to put a little bit of tape on mine because we're going to use a bit of leverage. Now we're going to take the firing pin back around to its little groove here using our thumb as a cantilever over here and the Allen key as the leverage, just through far enough that your tape's protecting everything and it's through that little hole. Now it won't take much, you hear it click. Now that should give us a little bit of wriggle room in order to help take our bolt handle out. Sorry, it was one more click. You go past the click into the fired position. Now the Allen key is wedged in there because the pin has essentially descended into the fire position. So it's a compressed Allen key, and you don't want to pull that out. Don't pull that out, you'll be in all sorts of trouble. Now there's a bit of movement in here. That movement allows us to wriggle free the actual bolt handle. Now mine will be nice and stuck, so I will free that up and get back to you. So step three is to remove your bolt handle. Now that just took a fair bit of wriggling, guys, so I wanted to show you not the struggles that I had, but the reason why. So there's quite a lot of play in this. Some of it's compression up and down on the spring, some of it's rotation. Now they're so finely machined, you see this little groove in here, that's all got to line up perfectly as you're pulling it out because there's internal pressure in there. So as you're trying to pull the bolt handle off, you've got to deal with this wriggle of your Allen key. Okay, you might need to compress it, you might need to distract it, you might have left and right rotation or a combination of all of those to allow all of these pressures to line up and for your bolt handle to come out. Okay, so you feel like you're wriggling, but now hopefully you've seen the inside mechanism of that. It makes a bit more sense as to what you're trying to do when you're wriggling this top Allen key in order to get the alignment right, in order to drag your bolt handle out. Okay, so place that aside with your shroud. They both need cleaning, and then your firing pin will come out and you need to clean inside that and this. And as you can see, mine's nice and dirty because I've had lots of fun with it and definitely needs maintaining. So you go about cleaning that however you like. I typically use a toothbrush for a scrub, and then just cleaning patches down in there, oil it, and we'll reassemble it here in a second. So I'll go about cleaning. Okay, so cleaning. Just a tiny little bit of your ball cleaner, and I've given it all a good scrub you see the colour, discoloration of the stuff coming off. So that's all been scrubbed. I've given that a really good go over and a few minutes to sit. Okay, and I'll wipe that off in a minute. I've been over the outside of this with the toothbrush and all the little nooks and crannies and all the different angles. And when it comes time to go, oh, and obviously you do your handle and up inside your shroud, you know, all cleaning you possibly can. It comes time to clean inside here. Just a single length of I've got a 3-part cleaner, teeny tiny, don't have to go over top, teeny tiny little bit of ball cleaner. Now when you look down there, have a look before you start, because I'm completely out of patches, I'm just using old rags. You don't want any of this to get stuck down there. And so just make sure what goes down comes back and you've got no little fibres left down there. But rotating the hand bolt. Right, you can see the colour that's come out. Now that's because I haven't done it for ages and ages and ages. Now I'm going to let that ball cleaner do its job. And then I'll run cleaner and cleaner and cleaner patches through there until they come out clean. And then we'll put it back together. Alright, make sure they're coming out clean, really clean. Then walk away, build yourself coffee, wait for it all to dry and then come back. And you want to oil the inside of and oil the pin, and if you oil the bolt handle as it's going to slide in, that might help you and it's going to cover that up. Don't have to go over top with the oil though, because it's going to be inside here as the firing pin. You'll see on the end of the pin actually gets exposed to a fair bit of heat, so you don't want to have oil in there surplus, right? So a very thin coating of oil, just the anti-rust coating, not like a swimming in oil in there, okay? So you go forth and oil it up, and we'll put it back together. Okay guys, so you've now dried, or cleaned, dried, and lightly oiled the inside of the bolt, and it's time to put it back together. Triple check there's nothing left in there, there's no patch jam down the end, there's no, if you're using you know, old rags or anything, no threads or anything, to the point of like get your phone torch down there and just make sure. I've never made that mistake before, but I have had a mate do it and gave him all sorts of trouble. So putting it back together, one of the most common problems I think people have had is when they've placed the pin back into the length of the bolt, it's then time to slide the bolt handle back in, but there's a misalignment, and these things are manufactured so precisely that the handle won't slide back in unless that alignment is perfect. Now there's a little step in there, so what that is somewhere in your cleaning process you might have just bumped that. Now that, when you've placed the pin indicator back into the groove, it's just to reverse what you did before, and it's not quite lining up. It's just a real simple matter of taking it out, twisting that, making sure that's still lined up, and once you get that perfectly aligned, okay, your bolt handle will now slide back in there without any force, okay? So you push it all the way through. Now, if you're finding you're getting jammed and you're using a lot of force and you're getting frustrated, you probably haven't lined that up. So it's time to pull that back out, twist it that 1/4 of a, mil. Won't be much, or you can throw a little bit more lube on it, but you shouldn't really have to force this, and it should wriggle into place. And you might have to pull it out, pull it in, pull it out, pull it in a few times until you get this alignment absolutely spot on. And when you do, you'll need that to close off completely and be beautifully aligned before you've completed your job. The pin, the handle nice and bolt handle flush. We're just going to rotate using the lever of the Allen key, rotate up till it clicks once. Now remember, we can't put the shroud back on until it's rotated that one more position. Okay, rotate as far as you can. Even though when it's back here in its homed position, the Allen key can come out if we've taken the compression off the spring and homed it. But we need to go one more rotation away from the firing position to allow the shroud to slide on. Okay, so don't get frustrated if you've located that in there and you can't get your shroud back on. It'll be very, very, very straightforward as to what's going on once you figure it out. So that'll home in, and then once that shroud keeper's on, it'll rotate around back to that homing position, and you'll hear a nice satisfying click. That is one lubed up, beautiful, well kept bolt now. That's just come back from a 6-day heli seeker hunt over in the Kawakas in New Zealand, and it was brutalised in 6 days of wet, dank, hard weather. And I'm really happy now that that is clean to my standards and satisfaction. Hopefully that helps, guys.